Welcome to Broadcast to Badass. We're Kimi and Pua, digital media nerds and jiu-jitsu-loving business coaches, joyously obsessed with creating freedom for heart-led entrepreneurs. We're here to help you go from frustrated to fierce, from hustle to flow, from broke-ass to badass. Find out more about us at bledigital.com, and wherever you're listening, be sure to click subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hey guys, welcome. This is episode 116. Can you believe it?
Damn.
And today we are going to be talking about peeling your onion.
I want to call it something different. Sounds so weird. Maybe because I don't like onions. Do you like onions?
I do. Yeah.
Ooh.
I just actually ate a bunch of green onions in my omelet.
Green onions are okay.
Yeah.
Regular onions?
Well, they have lots of layers. I think that's why they call it that, right? So, but we could also call this the what's
Wait,
really,
we didn't make that up.
The what's really what?
We didn't make up peeling your onion.
Peeling your onion is from Shrek. Because ogres, they're like onions. They have lots of layers.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So,
but this process, we call it peeling your onion. Didn't we make that up?
I think so, actually.
Yeah, we're really smart.
I think originally Joey was the one. He told me, like, we often say in our family, like, oh my gosh, I have an onion to peel. But it could also be called, like, what's really bothering you, which is one of our favorite questions too.
What the F is wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding.
The F is really going on. Because that's
how I feel when I tell it to myself. Like, Pua, what the F is wrong with you? Get your shit together.
So this is a little bit of like digging, and we're all about like quality questions that give you a quality life. So typically what happens is, we feel like crap, but that's a really surface level, broad description of what's going on. We just kind of feel like a lot of times the words I use is like, I don't know, like I feel off, or I feel frustrated, or I feel irritated, but I don't really take often until I really bring some mindfulness to it, the time to dissect that and to peel the layers of that onion. And it's only when you start really peeling back the layers and getting a little bit deeper into what's really going on and what's really bothering you that you can actually take some inspired action on each of the different layers of what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because we do this for ourselves both all the time and not often enough.
So true.
Right? And then the biggest part about this, again, we say this all the time to people in our course, on our podcast, in our tribe, everything that we teach and everything that we do is about creating awareness, because without that, we end up going through life by default. And that's what we did for a long time. And I think that's really what the personal and professional development space is really about, is taking whatever you do, however you spend your time, your energy, your money, and creating awareness around that so you can be more intentional with everything that you do, including shifting out of times where you feel uncomfortable or and it's not even like the discomfort is next level awareness, because we're not always like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. Sometimes you're just like grouchy or bitchy, or like you don't know why you feel certain ways, and you talk to people and you treat them like crap, and it's all like it's all related, and it takes this process of peeling your onion or asking yourself what is really at the core of the way that I'm acting or the way that I'm feeling, to even realize that it's coming from some sort of discomfort or frustration.
Totally. Yeah. So perfectly said. And I want to thank you, because as you said, we don't do this often enough. And we're just so resilient as humans, I think, that we tend to just keep just pushing through. And it's so great to have a business partner and a friend to just be like, hey, like, instead of just like pushing through all of this, or worse, like pushing down all of this stuff that's going on, let's just like get it out and do like a little bit of a emotional mental brain / heart dump. It sounds really weird, a heart dump, but to just
our hearts took a dump
to get everything out so that we can actually do something about it. And so
I feel like that's how society has taught us also, like, power through.
Yes.
Like just keep going, just keep doing it. And that's it makes us sick.
It does.
It does.
On all levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I was having a moment like this the other day where I just felt sort of, and this is usually my trigger. Like I feel just overwhelmed and scattered. Scattered is a really great, trigger for me. Like a moment where I go like, okay, if I'm feeling scattered, it means something is going on, or I kind of feel a little bit like all over the place. And it's just this tension that starts to build in my head where I kind of feel like pressure building. And I feel like almost like I can't move forward. Like I'm just like almost like caught in shore break. You know, that feeling of like, doosh, doosh, doosh. So that's kind of my sign to be like, okay, I need to like something is going on. So what about for you? What is your sign?
It's when I, above all else, want to lay on the couch and just watch Netflix for 8 hours. Like I shut down completely. And I don't always realize it until I'm halfway into a series and I'm like, oh, I've been here for 6 hours straight because I'm putting something off. Or I'll start to like do a bunch of housework, or like I procrastinate. That's my trigger.
Wow. That's so, what? I like, as long as I've known you, I never knew that is what you do. Isn't that interesting?
And I don't typically watch anything. Like we don't have cable. I don't typically spend a lot of time on Netflix. I just don't indulge in that way unless I feel overwhelmed. So I won't watch anything for like months, and then I'll like finish a series in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
actually
how you know. When I'm like, hey, did you see this latest season of this? And you're like, okay, sit down.
It's so funny because I'm the opposite. I'm like, if I'm watching, it's like because I'm like feeling so good and happy and content. And like, that is like, just, I don't know, like that's when I actually watch, when I feel like satisfied. How funny that we're so different in that way. And I think that's so true. Like everybody has their different way of coping or numbing out. Like for me, my sign is like I'll do busy work. Like I'll just like refresh my email like 1,000 times and do all these like little weird tasks on my computer, which is like, so my impulse is to like do more, but it digs me deeper into the hole because I feel like I'm doing all this stuff and nothing's happening, nothing's changing. And I'll hop from like one app to the other. I'll have like a million tabs open. I'm just like all over the place because I feel like I need to just do more. I won't get up. I'll stay like stuck at my desk. And yeah, so interesting. So interesting. And so this would be a really great, moment for all of you listening to just kind of take a second and say, okay, how do I know when I'm off? Like, what are the signs in my body, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? Like, how do you know when something is bothering you? Which seems like such a funny question because we feel like we'd always know when something is bothering us. But yeah, really take that time to dissect it.
Mm-hmm. And it manifests in different ways. Mm-hmm. So like for some people, it manifests in a physical ailment where sometimes I'll feel sick to my stomach and I don't know why, right? And it's like, it's because of all the things that I have to do that I haven't done. Or Dr. Chad Sato talks about this a lot, where if there are places in your life where you're not moving forward or you're not speaking your truth, like those will manifest in different ways in your physical body. But for me also, like when I'm overwhelmed or stressed out about something, and I hate to admit this, I almost don't want to talk about it, but it comes out in the way that I treat people. And so I'll get like short-tempered or and sometimes it's just because I'm thinking about something and it's like I'm in the middle of something that's on my mind and someone will ask me a question or like approach me and just like say hi. And I in hindsight, like I realize that I'm very short with them or I'm not super present. And I don't like that. I do not like that that's how that comes out for me. And I really want to try to shift that because it's not fair. It's not fair to that person at all.
Well, I think that's going to help. I think a lot of people can relate with that. And I was going to say, like, one of the first places we can look is like the quality of our relationships and like the nature of our relationships. Cause I do think that for most of us, that's the first place. And unfortunately, it's often the people that we're closest to that will snap at first when we're feeling junk. And so
we blame them.
Yes.
That's
totally.
The other part that's not fair. Like, oh, you didn't do the dishes. I'm so irrationally upset with you for not doing the dishes. When really, like, why are you really upset? Not at that person. It's something to do with yourself and your life and whatever else is going on for you. So it really is worth thinking about to like, and perhaps apologizing to some people for.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of what this is, right? It's like peeling back the layers and getting to the truth of what's really going on so that you can share with vulnerability with the people around you, especially the people that love you most, like what's really going on. And, I'm sorry, I've been short with you or whatever. It's because of this. And then that's actually when things can open up and people can begin to support you, right? But until we're really willing to look at our shit, then we can't expect other people to know what's going on with us.
For sure. Yeah. And it's funny. I think so Kimi and I are business coaches for entrepreneurs, and we have an 8-week course. And through like when we watch people navigate this course, and they'll come on the live calls. We have 2 live calls every week. And so we get to see them on Zoom. We see their face. We see the way that they light up when they talk about their business. We see the way that they contract when they talk about things that they're fearful of or unsure about. And as we go through those 8 weeks, people start to change. And our course really brings a lot of clarity and alignment to people in terms of not only their business or their big dreams, but how they're also integrating that into their lives. And as you create more clarity and more alignment, as your work aligns with your life, as your work aligns with your big dreams and what lights you up and how you want to serve and who you want to be, it's like that's like the next layer, right? So alignment allows you to also be really clear about like what does bother you? Why are you feeling this way? Is it because you're working at a job that you hate? Is it because you're surrounded by people who don't understand you and your the path that you're on? And creating this kind of alignment will often eliminate or like severely reduce the way that the frequency in which you feel this way. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. It's like finding the domino that makes everything else like easier, not even an issue anymore. And so, yeah, everything, it kind of will, when we're working with our clients, it's so interesting because they'll come to us for specific like business, like they want to take their business online. They want to grow their personal brand, whatever it is, right? They have specific business goals. And then it sometimes surprises them the ripple effect that it has in the rest of their life, right? So they all of a sudden they have new health habits. They've lost weight. Their relationships are better. They're starting to just radiate wellness and fulfillment and joy in all areas of their life. And it's because there's all these layers. Everything is always connected. That's why we've talked and taught so many years about work-life integration, because it is not separate. Like especially entrepreneur knows that whatever challenges you're experiencing in your business, they are going to be impacting every single other area of your life. And so, I love that. And I think what we'd love to do today is to give all of you a really practical exercise that you can use to start peeling the layers of your onion so that you can really experience that freedom in all areas of your life, whatever it is that you're going on. So if you're feeling a little off, if you've been feeling a little sad, if you've been noticing that some of your you haven't been feeling really great in your body, or you haven't been feeling really great in your relationships. If you're waking up tired, if you're going to bed kind of with anxiety, if you're not sleeping well, if you're feeling frustrated, like any of these things, let's work together to help you to sort through the layers so that you can begin really taking some inspired action on each one of the pieces.
For sure. Yeah. And I think too, like, it's important to remember. So if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, I thought this was a business growth podcast, or, like everything is related: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, business, financial, vocational, like life, all the things. It's all connected. And so think about this as an exercise that parallels things like we're gonna share with you a way to kind of take inventory of all the ways that you're feeling and all the things that like what could really be bothering you, and think about it as like a way. We've talked about time and energy tracking, right? There's a time and energy log. We've talked about nutrition tracking, and you have like your food log and your exercise log. This is the same thing. So we're just using the same concept, this like problem solving, solution oriented concept that can be applied to various things in your life. So if that helps you to conceptualize this a little bit, wow, I can't talk today. Yeah, just think about that when we tell you this.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're going to share with you a few different ways that you can do this, but I just have to like give Pooh a big shout out, because I think the way that we did this process recently was so hilarious and cathartic and fun. And I'm just really, really grateful to you. So thank you. So as I said, I was kind of like, oh, I'm feeling scattered. I'm feeling overwhelmed, blah, blah, blah. And both of us, we just had a lot of like shit on our minds and in our hearts. And, it was really clouding our communication, right? It was getting in the way of our productivity, frankly. And it felt like a, energetic leak. And so she had this suggestion, and sometimes it's like, it's not super productive for us necessarily to just like, sit with each other and go around and around and just say the same things again and again. So she had the idea that we do basically a dump, an emotional dump where we drop everything.
We take a
team dump. And we just get all of our shit out in a list. And we use Trello. That's the way that it's our task management shared system that we use. So that's where we keep all of our regular tasks. And it's like, okay, things that need to get done for the business or whatever. But this is different. Each of these columns was, Pua made one that said like, Kimi's shit. And she put a little fun, little crap emoji, yay. And then she had a list for hers. And our job then was to simply just dump out any shit that we had going on, like anything physically going on with us, anything emotionally going on with us, mentally, like did we feel out of alignment in any way? And it was just this place where we could just vomit or dump all of the stuff that we had without judgment in this safe space. And it feels so good, first of all, to be able to just get it out, to be able to complain and to get it out there and to just vent a little bit, because I do feel that kind of like in this modern day of like conscious creators, like we're so freaked out. I blame The Secret, but we're like so freaked out by saying what's really going on with us, because we're like terrified that like we're immediately going to manifest more of it. And that's just bullshit. And right. It's like, we're afraid to say like, I feel, uncomfortable in my body, because then it's just going to bring more discomfort in my body. We're afraid to say like, I'm scared of this, because we think we're going to like attract more fear or more of lack into our lives. And so, I just think that it's so important to shine the light on this and just kind of blow that bullshit story up a little bit, because think about what happens if this is going to sound so funny, but really like, otherwise, you're going to end up with like emotional constipation, right? If you're just holding all of this stuff in without getting this shit out there into the world, like imagine on a physical level what that would actually really be like. And
we always end up talking about poop.
We do, but it's so true. And I think it's a great visual, because it does make it sound really crazy to try to like keep it in, right? You would just walk through the world feeling really tense and uncomfortable. And so it's okay to let these things out. And it's really the only way that we can like really start dealing with it. And the last analogy that I'll share about this, because I think it's another great visual, is it's the same as like decluttering your home. So you know how we have like a junk drawer or something, right? So if that junk drawer is there, it's just there. It's like energetic weight. There's just like stuff. You're just, throwing it in there. You're not dealing with it. And it just is this like heavy weight on us that's there all the time. But until you open that drawer and take everything out and look at each single thing in there, it's always just going to be a drawer of crap in your house weighing you down. So only when you dump it out and deal with each piece can you actually really begin to feel free. And then you can decide, like, do I want to keep this? Do I not? Do I want to throw this away? Does this need to be fixed? Right? So yeah, So that's
Mm-hmm.
step one, get it out.
Yeah. And it's like journaling. We're like, the longer, so I had a teacher, I feel like I've talked about this before. Maybe it was on our other podcast. I had a teacher, Mr. Wolf, and he would always, he'd write on the board. We'd walk into class and he'd write like, I think he just wrote muse on the board or something. And it was called Arts and Letters. And it was an art and writing fusion class. It was the coolest class. I was a senior and like you have senioritis and you don't really want to do school. And it was just the most fun class to like take at that time. And so we'd walk in and we always had just like 10 minutes of writing at the beginning of class. And the first few weeks, of course, it was like, this is so weird and awkward. And we didn't know what to write. And we'd like look at each other's papers to see who was writing what. And some people were doodling. And it took a little while to kind of get in the groove. But it was like, now I really see why he was training, 17 and 18-year-old kids to do this. And it was really powerful. And what happens when you journal, when you use writing, or when you use making a list or logs or anything like that, is you start out with the things that are on the surface. And as you go, you kind of start to like feel into it. And you don't end up getting to the deeper stuff unless you force yourself to stay in the exercise for a little bit longer than what feels comfortable. So I know when I first did this, like Kimi and I were both kind of on our way out the door or on our way to do some, I forget, but we were a little bit like we didn't have the time that we needed to put into this. So I remember I put like things like I'm hot. I feel sad about these things or whatever. And then I walked away and then I came back and I picked up where I left off. And as I sat into it, I ended up like really uncovering some deeper things. Like, why do I feel this way? What's happening, emotionally that's coming out in the way that I'm, working on things for our business even, right? And so if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur, or even if you work for someone else and you think about like the quality of your work, think about the cost of not doing something like this and not creating that alignment and that awareness to work through the things that are bothering you. The cost is monumental. The quality of your work is probably not as great as it could be because you're not, your heart's not in it because it's somewhere else. You're feeling frustrated, you're feeling misaligned, you're feeling contracted, and that's coming out in your work, right? So, and then it's coming out in your relationships and it's coming out in your health. So again, like all of this stuff is related, but it takes time, it takes work. So give yourself I would even say give yourself 45 minutes to just sit down and dig into this.
And uninterrupted time too, right? So even if you could take yourself out of your normal environment, like go to a coffee shop, give yourself some really, as Pua said, some good quality time to do this because it's so funny, right? The first things that we say are always that it's the first layer of the onion and they typically are the physical stuff, right? It's like, I'm hot or it's like that surface BS about oh, I don't, and a lot of times it's victim-y too, right? It's like first level is often victim-y, like I don't get enough help around here and around the house, and that may be true, but there's an underlying fear and sadness even beneath all of that, right? So let's take that as a really practical example where it's like, oh, I don't feel like I'm getting enough help around the house. Maybe the deeper thing is maybe you don't feel like you're doing a great job as a parent. Maybe you feel like you're not being heard, right? So there's always deeper emotions under that surface level. And I love your story about your teacher because I think that's so true. It's like Julia, is it Julia Cameron, the morning pages exercise where you just do that stream of consciousness writing, and she calls it spiritual windshield wipers. That's the thing. It's you got to clear past all that surface level stuff to really get down to the root of what's going on. Yeah. So, I love the way.
God, sorry. I was talking on mute.
Okay, go ahead.
Going off. How rude she's talking over me. The other thing too is like, are you mad because people aren't helping out around the house and you feel like you're just constantly doing housework, and is the real reason because you're doing the housework to procrastinate on the big project that scares you?
Right?
Right? Like
Ooh.
it's those kinds of things that we don't get to dig into until we give ourselves the time and space.
Oh my God, that's so good.
So.
Yeah.
Oh no, we have to wrap this up. Oh my God, where did the time go?
It's
Dang
flying.
it.
It's flying. So we encourage you to do this exercise. And there's a second part to this though, that is so important, because when you have this list of stuff, certainly when you do this, believe us, you are going to feel lighter. You're going to feel, it's going to be
when you actually take a real dump.
Yes, exactly. It's going to feel very cathartic, but there is a tendency, and so this is next level badassery for you right here. So there's going to be a tendency that you're going to look at all this stuff and be like, okay, how can I deal with this? How am I going to solve this? How am I going to not feel this way? How? And what we are going to challenge you to do is not ask the word how, because if you knew how, perhaps, I mean, certainly you have more awareness now that you're shining the light on shining the light on your shit. But the question is not how, it is who. Who can support you with these things? And for me, my immediate who and the who that was built in, I always feel like Dr. Seuss when I say the word who, the who that was built into the way that we did our exercise in our business was that Pua started, I shared this list with Pua. So instead of asking myself, like, how can I not feel this way? Because if I knew that, I wouldn't be feeling this way. I asked her, like, can you look at my list? Like, do you have any suggestions? Because I am way too close to this shit, right?
Yeah. But the problem was most of our lists were the same. But it was interesting because even though they were a lot of the same things, like I even told Kimi, she was like, yesterday, she's like, well, why don't we do that? Like, if you're feeling this way about this. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't even care about my list right now. I already feel better putting it out there. It's so fun. And like, no offense, but your shit is fun for me to hack. Mine,
you're sick.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Totally.
That's service. That's why. And when we realize that other people around us are suffering, like that's how I feel about your list. I'm like so excited to like dig into your shit. It's so funny.
And like, I don't want to look at it anymore. Like for me, this exercise was great because it gave me awareness. It gave me a couple of things to shift. And just that alone, I feel better. Mm-hmm. And I don't even want to I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to look at it, which is probably like in itself a problem. But for now, like I want to take a break from it. I don't want to look at it. But yours, like, let's do yours. And as long as
how am I going to say no to that, right, guys? I'm like, oh, you want to handle all my shit for me? Great, perfect, let's do it.
Right. So in Trello, we actually like commented on each of our cards and provided either like further questions or solutions or options or like things that we could do together to like heal it. And I mean, it was so, I hate to say this, it was really fun to go through your list. Just because it's like, it's fresh eyes. There's no energy on it. It's not, and again, this sounds really rude, but it's not my life. And so I don't feel so connected to these things that it's like making me feel emotionally charged. And it's such a powerful thing to have someone else help you through these things if you aren't yet able to see it from a clear perspective. And if you aren't sure who that is for you and you don't mind reaching out to us, like we love being this person for other people. So for sure, like send us an email, say like, I listened to your podcast and I hope it's okay. I'm just going to send you my list of shit. What do you think?
Yes, do that. That sounds so fun.
Yeah. Hello at pledigital.com.
Hello at pledigital.com. Yeah, I love that so much.
You're like writing it down to email it.
And I think too, like, so after you do this exercise, you have your list of shit. Make a second column. And on the other side of that, instead of asking again, how, say, who can help me with this? Who has been through this? Who has offered support? Who is my support team? And please include us in that list and reach out to us. That's what we're here for. And just continue to remind yourself to replace the word how with who, and watch how empowered you're going to feel. And it takes a little bit of bravery to do the exercise for sure. And a little bit of bravery, perhaps, to reach out to somebody if that's out of your comfort zone. But what is the alternative? The alternative is staying in your shit longer, right?
For sure. We for reals have to wrap this up because we have another interview coming up, but we just want to also invite you guys to join us in all the places. I think actually we have an outro that's going to tell you what these are, don't we? But we also want to share with you that we are taking our 8-week course to the next level. We have a lot of amazing experts in their fields coming in and doing bonus trainings for us. And with that is going to come a increase in the request of appreciation, which is another way to say the price. So if you guys have been interested or have been thinking about applying, do that. Write meow, brokeasstobadass.com. And we'd love to do a breakthrough call with you. If you're able to apply this week, we'll honor our current pricing for you. So definitely jump in within the week, book a breakthrough call. We'll chat with you, see if you're a good fit for the program, and we'll go from there.
Awesome, guys. Have a great week. As always, we can continue the conversation in our tribe on Facebook. You can find that at bit.ly/BLE tribe.
If you guys are ready to take action and level up your life and your business, jump on the phone with us and book a breakthrough call. You can find out all about our 8-week course and all of the ways that we support you and your business dreams at brokeasstobadass.com.